Now let's create the UDI PI. As a quick reminder, that's this part of our UDI. And the UDI PI changes for every product that you produce. So even if you have software that is always the same, but you actually produce 5 different CDs, and you ship them physically via a CD, which used to be the case a few years ago, then every one of those CDs would actually need a different UDI PI. All right. And how do we get that? We don't actually get that. We can just make it up. And for that, we need to go to the GS1 application identifier reference. And for that, you can just Google GS1 application identifiers, and then you should somehow land on this page. That's on the global GS1 page. And here you have the full list of all the application identifiers. We already know the GTIN application identifier, which is 01. That's why, here in this label, we have the GTIN encoded with a preceding 01. That means, careful, there's a GTIN following. So that is this one. It can have up to 14 characters. So, but now we want to create our UDI PI, and we want to somehow give some more information about the product that the people have in their hands. And if you have, for example, cloud-hosted software, then it makes sense to put the production date out there, which is encoded by an 11, and then the production date is encoded year, month, day, and it can therefore have up to 6 characters. And you can see that on the label. That's what I did here. So this means year, 2023, month, that's June, and then day, that's the 30th. And this is preceded by an 11 because that's the application identifier. Okay, having just one number here as our UDI PI actually doesn't make that much sense, because you need to uniquely identify every product that you produce, and every replication of your device should have its own UDI PI. In this case, our UDI PI is just the production date. And the question is always, does this uniquely identify the instance of the product that I'm dealing with? And the production date would only be unique if you have a cloud-hosted software and it changes just once per day, and then you can have the production date to identify it uniquely. And there can only then be this one instance online, and yeah, when it changes, your UDI PI changes. So normally, because that's way too complicated and that's under so many assumptions, normally you would add more application identifiers here, and then your UDI PI would consist of 3 or 4 different pieces of information. Production date could be 1, then you could have the software number, you could have a batch number, and the most powerful here probably is the serial number, because there you can just put anything. And how do you do that now? There you can use this full list. Sometimes I see expiration dates that are encoded with the 17, or you could even add the software version number that has the complicated application identifier 8012, which would be in parentheses, and then you would put the version number there. Can have up to 20 characters. And of course, you can also add a batch or lot number if that is helpful for you. For example, if you actually have physical CDs, that would make sense, because probably production date and version number would be still the same for those CDs. And you would then just add them after the other application identifiers. So the UDI PI can become pretty large. It can be as many different application identifiers as you wish. So, and now you've probably already asked yourself, how do I create this crazy barcode? You don't actually need to create it if your software is only seen by human eyes. Then this code would be enough. But if your device is scanned by a machine at some point, or if you just think it looks nice, then you can also create a barcode. And there's actually in the GTIN manager, when you go from the dashboard here to edit your GTIN, there's this tab called barcode, but this is actually a barcode for point of sale. So this just encodes the GTIN, but it's not in the format as we like it. Because this format, this data format is called GS1 128. And to generate barcodes with that coding, you need a barcode generator. For that, I've always just used a calculator or a generator that I found on Google. I just Googled create GS1 128 barcode online, and then the third link is a page that looks like this. And here you can actually enter your human readable code, and then it makes a barcode out of it. It's, as always, a little more complicated though. So it doesn't have the parentheses here, but instead, if you put 01, it already identifies this as application identifier 01 and adds the parentheses itself. And it actually stops after 14 characters, because it knows that this thing only has 14 characters max. So if I add my production date here and I hit refresh, then you can see it cuts off here, and the 11 that I then entered is in parentheses as a new application identifier, and then it has the date here. But if, for example, your GTIN only has 13 digits, or you put some application identifiers after one another that have an undefined length, then you can use a hack, which is \. So now I have only 13 characters here, but I have the \f, so this should still work. Yes, it does. I can even make this shorter. Yeah, it works. If I put another production date here, it should actually also work, because it knows this has a maximum of 6 characters, that's true. But if I put there something like, let's use batch or lot number, which can have up to 20 here, then yeah, this becomes part of that number, and here I need \f to mark that I'm starting with a new application identifier. And that's it. Then you can download it and add it to your label. And then you have your full UDI on the label.